Hey guys, welcome to the video. This video I'm talking about reamping, what it is, how you might want to do it, why you might want to do it, and in my personal opinion, why you just could avoid the whole hassle of going through it and even trying to reamp. But let me explain what it is to start off with. First of all, basically reamping is exactly what it sounds like. You go ahead and record something in your DAW on your computer, and then at a later date you reamp it. Meaning specifically that when I'm going to talk about using guitars, because generally that's the most common, but you can do this with drum kits, vocals, keyboards, but generally it's thought of using it with guitars. Now you've gone ahead and you record your guitar, and the idea is that you record your guitar with a nice clean dry signal into your audio program. Therefore you can play that track back out of your program, typically during mixdown, and then that signal will go out of your computer, and then however you might want to wire it through your direct boxes or whatever out into your studio room, and then generally might go into a guitar amplifier that's going to be mic'd up, or you can run it into some guitar simulation software, whatever you might want to do, and then that comes back into your computer, the new sound. So you're reamping the sound that you've originally recorded. Now the idea that you might want to do this is that it gives you choices. You're not committed to you're not committed to your sound right when you're recording your guitar at the very beginning. So therefore it gives you more options. If you have a guitar sound that's a little bit too brittle or a little bit too tinny or too much echo on it, or whatever the problem is, you're not committed to having that sound during the mixdown. Now again, this is something that it isn't very difficult to do, and it is very popular, but now I'm going to get to the controversial part about reamping. Now, for some of you guys that reamp and find that it's useful, I applaud that, and I think that's just fine. However, I personally, as a guitar player, think that it's basically is a waste of time. Let me explain some of the reasons why. First of all, when you're recording guitar, as a guitar player, most guitar players that I know, we're all tone chasers, so you want to get the right guitar, the right amp, right effects and everything. And so the reason is that you want to have that sound that you can feed back off of, that you can feed with. Generally, guitar players that are addicted to tube amps or have to be playing through an amplifier, they want that response that they're getting from an amplifier. When you're reamping, you're not generally getting that type of feedback from your equipment as you're playing. Now, there is a way around that you can do that. You can go ahead and record two tracks. You can go ahead and record the track that you like, say, that has your amplifier on it, and then you record a parallel track, which is your dry track. Generally, that would be the preferred way to do that, and therefore you take that dry track and reamp that. The other track that you recorded that has the effects on it, you can either ditch it or blend it or whatever you might want to do with it at a later date. But again, I find that specifically guitar sounds that have repeat echoes on them or reverbs or incredible sustain or that sort of thing, you need to be able to hear that while you're playing, and you're not getting that type of feedback when you're reamping. Now the other reason is this is a positive, that it gives you more choices during mixdown, but I'm going to call this really a negative, because nowadays we have so many choices when it comes to mixdown that you just become overwhelmed with these choices. So I say, and this is me again personally, if it doesn't work for you or works for you, whatever floats your boat. But what I'm saying is, go ahead and make a decision what your sound, what you want it to be, and then move on. If you can't get a guitar sound that you like when you're recording it up front, then you need to study a little bit more on trying to get a better guitar sound, or you need to write the song or get a little further along in your production and realize this is what the song is going to call for. I need this type of sound. I need a nice clean sound with some reverb or a crunch sound or an overdriven sound. But what I'm saying is, make this decision when you're recording. If you were playing out live with a band, you're not going to, in your live performance, you're not going to say, well, let's reamp that live performance, which obviously you can't do. It's kind of a crazy thought. But you're already committed, and you're going for the best sounds that you can get. And that's what I say for recording. And that really, in the long run, makes the better recordings, that you can go ahead and make these decisions up front, and then you move along, and then therefore you're not presented with all these decisions at the end. Now again, reamping is a very popular procedure that you hear used lots and lots nowadays. However, if you really think about it, think of some of your guitar players that you really like to listen to, some of your top players. Do they really reamp? I'm going to say no. I don't know any of my favorite guitar players, I'm talking about rock and roll and that sort of thing, that would bother to reamp their guitar in a recording session, because they come in, they've already got their stack of amps or their little tiny amp or their favorite guitar, their favorite sounds, and they're already ready to go at the get-go. They're not getting in and reamping. I think this is just a procedure that has become available, very easy to do now with the age of digital recording, and somebody's figured out, hey, well, we can go ahead and do this and we don't have to commit. I call that a downfall, but like I say, if it works for you, it works for you, and if you need that sort of choice at the end, that's perfectly fine. Personally, I say make the decision when you're recording, get the good sound, go with it, and then move on. Again, that's all I've really got to say about reamping. I hope you understand the procedure and what I'm talking about. And there are some positive uses for reamping. If the amplifier that you recorded that track on all of a sudden had a problem, but your dry signal was fine on the recorder, then and the talent is left the studio, then you're not stuck with a useless guitar track. You can go ahead and take that dry track and then maybe even run it back through the amplifier that the guitar player originally used. And it's also possibly useful for getting room ambience if you like to have the real thing versus using digital effects. But again, I personally say get the sound up front, go with it, you'll be better in the long run. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you in the next video.